I are going to cut a steek.
We are, and it's really not that bad. People get nervous about it, but it's really not a big deal. It's very traditional, and it will work if you follow a couple simple rules. We've gotten to the top part of our vest now. We've worked all the way to the top of the tube, and now we need to cut the tubes open. So I just want to show you a little bit about why this works in the first place. You know, cutting your knitting, people get very nervous about that. Doesn't it unravel? Yeah. And it really doesn't. For one thing, knitting doesn't run sideways as much as it runs, you know, when you drop a stitch and it runs up and down.
Vertically, really. Right.
For another thing, the traditional Shetland wool that you would be using for a vest like this tends to be very quick to mat together. It's the surface of the yarn is not smooth, and the little hairs like to grab each other, and even just the friction of you knitting. Exactly. Even just the friction of you knitting will mat things together a little bit. Obviously, this yarn is much bigger in gauge and will not felt as readily, but we'll still be able to cut it, and I'll show you what happens. So this is our steek itself, the striped portion here. And some people like a striped steek, some people like a checked steek, but it's
out of pattern.
Exactly. But I always like to leave 2 stitches together in the same color so I know exactly where to cut. Okay, and I'm going to cut just right up between these 2 stitches, cutting only between them.
So you're cutting really the bars in between the 2 rows.
I don't want to be actually cutting the stitches themselves. I can even just separate a little bit for you and show you those little bars there is what I'm cutting.
Yes.
You want a small, sharp pair of scissors and good light to do this. Okay.
And a steady hand.
And a steady hand. And we've just cut it open here.
Yes.
And you can see
how easy that was.
That was very easy. And it's really not going to unravel all that much.
Right.
Okay, you can see on the inside that we've got some yarn ends and things. And later, to finish up, we're going to go back and trim this up and neaten it. But I just want to show you how to pick up an edging like we have on our neck bands and on our armholes.
You actually have to make a ribbing on your neck and armholes.
Or, you know, some other kind of finishing, or you can leave it raw if you want, but generally there's a ribbing. So there's going to be a natural fold between where the pattern stops and the steek starts, and that's where we're going to pick up our stitches.
On the right side of...
Looking at the right side of the work, we're going to take our needle, insert it in between the last pattern stitch and the first steek stitch. Take our yarn, whatever the pattern calls for, wrap it around the needle on this side.
And bring it through?
Bring it through.
So you're really catching those bars again, Uni?
Well, you're not catching any bars, actually. You're going just all the way to the back of the work. And just pulling only just the working yarn through. And I'm just going to pull just going to keep doing a couple more stitches here.
So it looks very easy to pick that up.
It is easy. Well, and then once you've done that, you've got this very natural kind of fold line. So
and
this
that folds under in the finishing?
Exactly. This is the part where you would just trim away some of these loose ends, and you would take a sharp darning needle in your working yarn and just tack it down with a simple blanket stitch, or just an over and over stitch. I'm going to show you the best part about a steek. When you just turn this inside out.
Yes.
You've got...
You're turning it inside out, right?
You can have hundreds of yarn ends where you've changed all your colors.
And none...
But in a steek, you cut them all away, and you
give
have nothing
a
to
nice
weave in.
Finished edge.
Right. You can see here just how neat that looks.
That looks nice. Well, that is how you cut a steek, Uni. You made it look